It's only night 2 of the second round. How much crazier can it get? Welcome to From Center Ice. My name is Courtney, and for the second night in a row, I am back to recap the night that was in NHL playoff hockey. Now, if you are new to From Center Ice, and you also didn't see last night's video, my team in the playoffs this year was the Toronto Maple Leafs, and of course, they were eliminated in the first round. My team in the AHL playoffs was the Rockford Ice Hogs, and they were eliminated in the second round. And I just wasn't quite ready for my playoff coverage to be over yet outside of podcasting, so I decided that last night I would recap the 2 games that happened, and after watching tonight's 2 games, I am back again. Last night's video was kind of an experiment to see how it would go, but y'all seem to like it, so we'll just keep this going for, as long as the playoffs are interesting, and seeing as they are only going to get more intense, hopefully we can have some good conversations here. If you didn't see last night's video, I would highly suggest you at least go over and watch the beginning of it. There's probably a bit of a better explanation there. But anyway, since I am covering 2 games per night, I will say that I don't make predictions. I haven't made a prediction since 2014 because it came back to bite me in the butt, so I decided to never do that ever again. But I will tell you which teams I am rooting for. That does not necessarily mean that I think they will win, because my teams often do not win, so I apologize in advance if that's the case for your team, if I am rooting for them. And maybe it's a bit obvious, but between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers, I am rooting for the team from New York City. And in the Battle of Alberta, I am taking the Calgary Flames. I am so sorry, Rangers and Flames fans. I am not here to curse your teams. I promise that is not what I want to do. But I do like chaos, so if I can conjure up some chaos along the way, that would be wonderful. And it seemed to work in at least one of these games tonight. But before we get to talking about the games that happened tonight, I don't often talk about the Hurricanes or the Rangers or the Oilers or the Flames on this channel. Of course, I do here and there in longer podcast episodes where we talk about the whole league, but if you are new to From Center Ice, hello, once again, my name is Courtney. Like I said off the top, I am a Chicago Blackhawks fan and a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, and in the American Hockey League, I am a fan of the Rockford Ice Hogs and also a season ticket holder. So during the regular season, for these recap videos, those are the teams that you will mostly see. If you want to hear me talk about other teams, of course, you have the longer podcast episodes. And in telling Colorado Avalanche and Florida Panthers fans last night that I was rooting for their teams, I decided to tell them my best memories that involved their teams. So I will try to do that here tonight, but I don't really have many memories of the New York Rangers or the Calgary Flames. At least personal ones. I have watched plenty of games from both teams. But I think probably the only personal memory I can conjure up, actually there are 2 for the New York Rangers. One of them maybe won't endear me to you as a Rangers fan, but I will tell you anyway. So way back in 2012, the Chicago Blackhawks were on a 9-game losing streak in the month of February. And I was living in Chicago at the time. I was going to school out there, and sometimes restaurants in the Chicago area had contests to win tickets to Blackhawks games. On this one particular night, there was one, "What would you do for Blackhawks tickets?" Now, I had been wanting to get a Blackhawks tattoo for a little while, but then I saw that contest. I was like, this is perfect. How can you deny somebody putting permanent ink in their skin from getting tickets to a hockey game? So that is what I did. I got a tattoo of the Blackhawks feathers, and I filmed it and said, this is what I would do for Blackhawks tickets. I would get a tattoo. And I won tickets to the game. Now, what does that have to do with the New York Rangers? Well, that very same night that I got said tattoo on myself, the Chicago Blackhawks were playing the New York Rangers. And not only were they playing the New York Rangers, but they beat the New York Rangers to end their 9-game losing streak. Again, I said it probably wouldn't endear me to you, but that's like the best memory I have of the New York Rangers personally. Sorry. I live in the Midwest. They don't talk about the Rangers a whole lot out here. But I do have 2 jerseys, if you notice that. The one I am wearing is a Henrik Lundqvist jersey, and the second one comes with the second story about the New York Rangers, and maybe the one that actually will endear me to you, or at least get a chuckle out of you. So I am sure you remember when Tony DeAngelo was kicked off of the Rangers team, they had had enough of his shenaniganery and said goodbye. Well, it was rumored that it was because he got in a fight with a teammate, and it was even more rumored that Alexander Georgiev had decked him in the face. But at first we didn't have a name, and I said if they release a name of the player who did it, I will buy a jersey. And so on my wall is an Alexander Georgiev jersey. If that story was not in fact true and it was just a rumor, don't tell me, because I choose to believe it was true. So New York Rangers fans, those are my 2 stories for your team. Now I have to dig a bit deeper to find something for the Calgary Flames. And I don't really know if I have anything. There was the Blackhawks getting, I want to say, a 3rd round pick for sending Brandon Bolig to you guys, but that probably doesn't endear me to you. The Blackhawks didn't re-sign Nikita Zadorov, so he went to you guys. There's that. Again, I live in the Midwest. They don't talk about the Calgary Flames a whole lot out here. I'm sorry. But even though I cannot think of a personal story involving the Flames, just know that I am rooting for your team, and I'm sorry if I curse them. It's nothing personal. I just really do not like Mike Smith, so I cannot root for the Edmonton Oilers. Plus, they signed Evander Kane, so I really can't root for them. And they have Duncan Keith, who now can't seem to keep his foot out of his mouth since he went from Chicago to Edmonton. So you're my team, Calgary. Alright, now we have those niceties out of the way. If there are any fans here for the Edmonton Oilers or for the Carolina Hurricanes, hello. Much like Tampa and St. Louis, I don't feel like I need to endear myself to you since I am rooting against your teams. But you are more than welcome to hang out, listen to what I have to say about these games, and leave me some comments. I want to hear all of your thoughts about what went on in your games. So speaking of the games, how about we just jump right into them? First, we had sort of a goalie duel, and then there was the Battle of Alberta. But we will start with the early games. Since that was on first, we'll just go chronological here. So, Game 1 between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers in Carolina. Both of these teams went to a Game 7 in their respective first rounds, but I don't think that excuses the first period that we saw, because I don't know that either team really showed up. They have had a few days to rest, so I think they should have come out with a little more energy than what we saw. But 7 minutes and 7 seconds into the first period, a Tony DeAngelo turnover in the neutral zone gets the puck to Alexis Lafreniere. He breaks into the offensive zone with Philip Hedl. Laffy sends the puck over to Hedl, who pops that puck past Antti Raanta, former Blackhawk. And the kid line gets the Rangers on the board first, 1-0 Rangers. And then with 5 minutes and 16 seconds left in the first period, Hedl has the chance to get on the board again. But here comes Antti Raanta's toe. Maybe the tip of Antti Raanta's toenail, because oh my goodness, what a save that was. I thought maybe it had gone high or wide or hit the post. Somehow the puck did not end up in the back of the net. And then they showed the replay. And should Carolina go all the way to the end, Antti Raanta's toe might win the Conn Smythe Trophy. Because that puck stayed out, no other pucks went in the first period, and they went into the first intermission 1-0. The shots on goal in the first period were 12-8 in favor of New York. So even though there wasn't a whole lot going on there, the teams were still getting some shots off. I don't know if Shesterkin really had to make a big save. Definitely not like the one that Antti Raanta made. So off to the second period we go. And for a lot of that first half of the second period, it was a lot of both teams just slinging the puck to nobody. It would be in their defensive zone, and then they would just throw it to the other side of the ice or out to the neutral zone. The other team would get it. It was a very strange game plan that kind of looked like air hockey, but this is not air hockey, this is ice hockey, so the teams were bound to get some scoring chances eventually. So into the offensive zone comes Seth Jarvis, and this kid is going to be a very, very good hockey player for a very, very long time. And I knew this last season when he was playing with the Chicago Wolves, since he wasn't able to go back to junior since the season hadn't started yet, and he led the American Hockey League in points. And then junior season started up again, and he had to go back to junior because of the weird agreement between the CHL and the NHL. But man, Carolina fans, you have got a player there with Jarvis. But the New York Rangers also have a very good young player in K'Andre Miller. And it looked like Seth Jarvis was in all alone with all the time in the world to get a shot off on Igor Shesterkin. But K'Andre Miller sees him from the center of the ice, and in swoops the defensive king. He demolishes that big gap between them, and he gets to Jarvis before he gets a shot off and just shoves him off of the puck. And it was so beautiful. It just came out of absolutely nowhere. It was a clean hit. He didn't get the shot off. What a defensive play. That kid is good at hockey. Not Jarvis, we already talked about that. K'Andre Miller, very good at hockey. And then you had a chance going the other way when Alexis Lafreniere hit the crossbar, that ping that could be heard all throughout Manhattan. And they weren't even in New York. And then with about 20 seconds to go in the second period, Andrei Svechnikov is just planted at the top of the crease. Shesterkin was at the side of his net watching the puck because the play was kind of bouncing all around, but Svechnikov was wide open. If that puck gets to him, Shesterkin was not in position to make a save, and that puck would have been in. And the puck did get to Svechnikov, but not before the Rangers defenders also got to Svechnikov. They shut down that play, bailed out their goaltender. The period was allowed to end 1-0 still in favor of the New York Rangers at the end of the second period. So on to the third period we go, and one has to assume that the Carolina Hurricanes are going to come out with a push eventually. That is a very good offensive team down there in Raleigh. And they're at home. And the Rangers also aren't playing particularly well. Somebody needs to tell the 4 teams playing in the early games here in the second round that they need to show up, because so far the late games have totally overshadowed them. But anyway, the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers open up the third period. And if I didn't know better, I would have thought Carolina was on a 7-minute power play. Rod Brind'Amour took his lineup, shoved it in a blender, shook it all around, hit that button, really blended it up, and then poured them out onto the ice for the third period. And that first line of Teuvo Teravainen, Sebastian Aho, and Seth Jarvis was fantastic. And the Canes outshot the Rangers 7-0 in the first 7 minutes of the third period. Welcome to the game, Igor Shesterkin! Hope you had fun in the first 40 minutes, because this last period wasn't going to be fun. But the clock kept ticking. We got to the halfway point, still nothing. With 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the third period, Nino Niederreiter on a breakaway. Ping! That one was probably also heard in Manhattan. And again, they were in Carolina. Close call for the Rangers there, because that looked like a sure goal. And talk about something looking like a sure goal. The play goes the other way. Kaapo Kakko has a wide open net to shoot at, and he shoots it out the other side behind Antti Raanta. The score is still 1-0. But then, with 2 minutes and 23 seconds to go in the third period, Brady Shea has the puck in his defensive zone. He breaks the puck out up to Teuvo Teravainen. Teuvo finds Seth Jarvis with a nice pass. Jarvis finds Sebastian Aho with maybe an even nicer pass. Sebastian Aho takes that puck, he cuts to the net, he spreads Igor Shesterkin out, but save! What a chance for Sebastian Aho on that shot, but Igor Shesterkin lays out, he makes the save with the pad, but he didn't cover it. And Jacob Trouba didn't cover him. But Sebastian Aho, he's a smart guy. He knows that the position he put Shesterkin in would make it near impossible for him to cover that puck up. So he stuck with the play off of that fantastic chance, fantastic save. The puck is laying there. He finds it and puts it in the net. Tie game. And I'm looking at the clock like there's 2 minutes and 23 seconds left in this one. And right after this game, that Edmonton-Calgary game is supposed to start. So somebody better score in these last 2 minutes and change here. But score in the remainder of the third period, they do not. Off to overtime we go for the second night in a row. And I think these teams also wanted to watch the Battle of Alberta, because it only took 3 minutes and 12 seconds into overtime for Ian Cole to get the puck down near the goal line, look around, find his option, start moving up toward the blue line, but then he sees a shot. He takes a shot from the right circle. There's absolutely no traffic in front. Shesterkin sees it perfectly, but so does his defenseman, Ryan Lindgren, who has his stick in the air. And the puck, with its personality, goes, "Stick? I'm supposed to be on sticks. Let me hit this stick." And my friends, it does hit the stick, which was bad news for the New York Rangers, because after it hit the stick, it deflected in to the net past Igor Shesterkin, and the Carolina Hurricanes won game number 1 by a score of 2-1, scoring 2 goals on their final 3 shots of the game. Antti Raanta had to make more saves, he had to make better saves, but that does not matter in the game of hockey. The game of hockey is a game of inches and bounces, and in this one, a bad bounce for the Rangers ended the game and put them in a 1-0 series hole. And if I'm the Rangers, I'm not expecting to come into game 2 and see the same Carolina Hurricanes team that they saw tonight, because that is a high-flying Hurricanes team, and they, again, just did not show up for the majority of this game. So the Rangers really need to regroup and have a very good push of their own and help out their goaltender, or this series is going to be very short. But that is it for the early game. Once that one was over, it was time to watch Calgary and Edmonton, the Battle of Alberta. But again, that first game went to overtime. It cut in a little bit to that later game, and it was already 1-0 Calgary. Look, I had that Rangers-Carolina game on my TV, and I had the Edmonton-Calgary Flame on my computer. And when Ian Cole scored to win the game, Calgary also scored to get the first goal of the game at the same time. I thought I was going crazy. I watched a goal, then I looked down, they're celebrating a goal. I'm like, what is happening right now? So buckle up, because a lot happened in this one. Game 1, Calgary Flames, Edmonton Oilers in Calgary. You have Jacob Markstrom against Mike Smith in net, and 2 very good teams on the ice. You have the best player in the entire world in Connor McDavid on Edmonton's side, and Johnny Gaudreau with maybe the best season of his career on Calgary's side. And that's only mentioning 1 player from each team there. So the puck drops, and 26 seconds into the first period, Johnny Gaudreau from his defensive zone makes a breakout pass to Rasmus Andersson. Usually you would expect it to be the opposite way around, but not this time. Rasmus Andersson finds Elias Lindholm wide open on the left wing side, and Lindholm just takes a shot at the net, and it confuses Mike Smith. It just goes right through him. 1-0 Calgary! 26 seconds into the first period. Oh, but they weren't done. They were not even close to being done. 51 seconds into the first period, the Calgary Flames win the puck on the boards. Michael Backlund has the puck behind the net. Cody Ceci, guarding the left side of the net, decides to leave his little area. He bites on the play, tries to go toward Backlund to get the puck, but Backlund sees it coming and sends the puck to the front of the net on a beautiful little backhand saucer pass to Andrew Mangiapane, who is waiting wide open. Gets the puck, shoots it through Mike Smith. 2-0 Calgary. That was 2 goals on 3 shots, 2 goals in 51 seconds, which was the fastest 2 goals in a playoff game in NHL history to start a game. So history was made in the first minute of the first period. You just know this series is gonna be good, especially if this first game, that first period, that first minute is any sort of precursor, because they still weren't done. 6 minutes and 5 seconds into the first period, Jacob Markstrom makes a save on McDavid. Calgary breaks the puck out to the neutral zone to Milan Lucic, but Evander Kane ends up with the puck on the turnover. But Brett Ritchie said, no, I have something to say about that. He knocks Evander Kane, gets a stick on the puck as he's trying to pass it over to Duncan Keith, steals the puck, breaks in on Mike Smith, and scores! 3-0 Calgary with another shot over the glove of Mike Smith. And that was the end of his night. He was out. Enter the game, Mikko Koskinen. Mike Smith was pulled just over 6 minutes into game 1. Oh, Edmonton. Oh, Edmonton indeed. Markstrom makes a save on a Barrie shot. Evander Kane gets in on the forecheck, gets the puck behind the net, sends it out front to Connor McDavid, who just found wide open soft ice in the middle of the defensive zone for the Calgary Flames, right in tight to Jacob Markstrom there. And 7 minutes and 41 seconds into the first period, with the patience of a saint and the softest hands on the planet, he just skates backward casually, just handling the puck, gets Markstrom to bite, bangs it into the net, and the Edmonton Oilers are on the board on Connor McDavid's 5th goal of the playoffs. Connor McDavid is crazy. He just does things. Every time you see Connor McDavid get the puck, you know that something is going to happen, even if it doesn't end up in the back of the net. It's just mind-blowing, the things that this guy can do on the ice. And the Edmonton Oilers are doing such a good job of wasting it. Especially in this first period, with 10 minutes and 8 seconds to go, they get a power play, and they don't get a single shot on goal on it. And in that first period, especially, the Oilers were just very happy to let Flames players just camp out in front of their goaltender and let them receive those passes from behind the net. The exact same play that got Andrew Mangiapane on the board with that second goal, they made that play a few times. Luckily for them, Koskinen made the saves. But Oilers, what are you doing? How have they not learned defense through all of these years? I guess when you have the best player in the world and also Leon freaking Draisaitl, you don't really have to defend because they can just score your way out of trouble most of the time. And they almost did that today. But they did not do that in the first period, and the game went to the first intermission 3-1 in favor of the Calgary Flames. The second period had to be better for Edmonton, right? I mean, the second period was something, but it sure didn't start out well for the Oilers because Rasmus Andersson takes a shot from the right wall. Mikko Koskinen makes the save, but there's a bunch of traffic in front, bunch of guys around there. Flames, Oilers, the whole party. Unfortunately for the Oilers, the rebound finds Blake Coleman, who just patiently finds the opening, whips it into the net, 4-1 Flames. Do you want to know how bad it really was? Just over 4 minutes into the second period, the shots on goal for the game were 25-8. How is that even possible? Well, because the Calgary Flames kept scoring. 6 minutes and 10 seconds into the second period, Trevor Lewis has the puck on the left wing boards. He sends it up the boards to Noah Hannafin, who takes a nice slap shot toward the net, but Blake Coleman, once again, just parked out in the slot, tips the shot past Mikko Koskinen. 5-1 Calgary. Now, here is where I must say I need you to remember that score. 6 minutes and 10 seconds into the second period, it became 5-1 Calgary. But exactly 1 minute later, 7 minutes and 10 seconds into the second period, Leon Draisaitl breaks into the zone on the right wing. He sends the puck all the way across the ice. It bounces off of the left side boards. Connor McDavid, who else, is there to pick up the puck, and as he gets the puck, he stops on a dime, spins around Dylan Dubé, who was trying to defend him. Poor soul. Whoever tries to defend Connor McDavid, I feel so bad for you. But all in one motion, Connor McDavid breaks his stride, picks up the puck, spins around the defender, surveys his options, finds Evan Bouchard cutting toward the net, hits him with a pass. Evan Bouchard, with his first goal of the playoffs, just wrists it past Jacob Markstrom, and it is 5-1 6-2. If you were not watching this game tonight between the Edmonton Oilers and the Calgary Flames, first of all, why not? All that has been talked about since the matchup was set is the Battle of Alberta and how great it was going to be. But second of all, go back and watch that goal, because that play between Draisaitl, McDavid, and then Bouchard finally scoring it was beautiful. I know I am rooting for the Calgary Flames in this series, but oh my goodness, credit where credit is due. That play, oh, so good. But then the Oilers immediately go on the penalty kill. And while they are killing said penalty, they almost get another goal. Ryan Nugent Hopkins breaks into the offensive zone shorthanded, gets a shot off. Jacob Markstrom makes the save, but the rebound pops out, and there is Derek Ryan, who gets the second chance shot, and Jacob Markstrom just gets a pad on that puck. Oh my goodness, he had so much net to shoot at and he didn't hit it. And then the Flames go the other way. And 8 minutes and 24 seconds into the second period, Johnny Gaudreau on the left wing half wall is handling the puck, trying to survey his options on the power play here, controlling the power play from the half wall, and he decides to just send the puck toward the net, which ended up being a very good decision on Johnny's part, because Matthew Tkachuk, parked out in front of Mikko Koskinen, tips the puck and then bats the puck out of midair into the net. 6-2. Calgary. And here, once again, is where I need you to remember a score. 8 minutes and 24 seconds into the second period, the score was 6-2 in favor of Calgary. So just over a minute later, 9 minutes and 38 seconds into the second period, Zach Hyman has the puck. He breaks into the offensive zone down the left wing. He pulls up on the half wall, uses Michael Stone, the Calgary defenseman, as a screen, shoots the puck through his legs. It goes off of Jacob Markstrom's left arm and into the net. 6-3 Calgary. That is one you really want your goaltender to make a save on, but Hyman did use the defender as a screen, shot it through his legs, but oof. And Zach Hyman, former Toronto Maple Leaf, was not done. 14 minutes and 6 seconds into the second period, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, once again in tight on Jacob Markstrom, tries to get a shot off. It goes wide. Zach Hyman picks up the puck behind the net, cuts toward the right side, doesn't like his options, spins around, heads back behind the net, kind of wraps around it out high, and just sends a wrister toward the net, and in it goes! 6-4 Calgary. And everything is just going in at this point. You just expect it. Every time a player takes a shot, you're like, oh, there's gonna be another goal. Oh, it is a goal. Oh, there's gonna be another goal. Oh, it is a goal. Madness. Absolute madness. The Battle of Alberta was billed as one that was going to be a great series, and it did not disappoint in this first game. But the second period still wasn't over. With time winding down, with just about 40 seconds left, Rasmus Andersson rings the puck around the boards in the offensive zone. The puck gets turned over to Evander Kane because Zadorov had left the zone because his stick shattered on a shot. So Evander Kane taps the puck out to the neutral zone. Noah Hanifin, defender for the Calgary Flames, tries to bat at the puck with his stick, but game of inches, game of bounces, that puck goes off of his stick, but then it bounces off of Connor McDavid's shin pad and directly to Leon Draisaitl, which results in Rasmus Andersson being the only Calgary defenseman back, and Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid entering the zone on a 2-on-1. Is there a more terrifying visual than that if you are a goaltender? You see only one defender of yours back, and then you have Leon Draisaitl with the puck and Connor McDavid breaking toward the net. That is nightmare fuel. But Leon decides to do this one all on his own. He shoots the puck at the net, and in it goes! Because everything is going in. 6-5. Calgary. Now, a lot of people on Twitter were saying that Markstrom really needed to make that save. And I agreed that Markstrom really did need to make that save. But I am also not going to put it entirely on him. Because Leon Draisaitl is a fantastic hockey player and somehow not the best player on his team. He was right up there neck and neck with Austin Matthews for the Rocket this year. The guy can score goals. But Jacob Markstrom, surveying the play as it's happening, knows that Connor McDavid is coming down the other wing. And not only can Leon Draisaitl shoot the puck, he is also very good at passing the puck. And you know who is also very good at scoring goals? Connor freaking McDavid! So, if you are a goaltender and you are staring down a 2-on-1 with Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid, you are basically in no man's land. Because if I'm Markstrom, I don't necessarily trust in Rasmus Andersson to stop the pass if Leon Draisaitl decides to do that and get the puck to McDavid instead of taking the shot himself. So while that was a very savable puck and he should have had it, come on! So this game that was once 5-1 goes into the second intermission 6-5 in favor of Calgary. And they weren't done! Off to the third period we go. 1 minute and 28 seconds into the third period, there is a defensive zone face-off for the Calgary Flames. Unfortunately for them, Leon Draisaitl wins the face-off to Connor freaking McDavid, who doesn't score on the play. But he does get the puck off of the face-off win, decides to make something happen all on his own, skates around a few defenders, you know, just a normal day in the life of Connor McDavid. Takes the puck to the net, Jacob Markstrom makes the save. But Kailer Yamamoto, once a hockey player, now a garbage man, picks up the puck, shovels it past Jacob Markstrom. The garbage has been taken out. 6-6. This game was tied! Y'all, it was 5-1! And now at the beginning of the third period, it is tied 6-6. This game was insane. And they weren't done! 2 minutes and 58 seconds into the third period. Credit to the Calgary Flames. They had a nice little push there themselves after the tying goal. They did not want to see this game slip away because that would be very tragic for them. So they were controlling the puck, getting some shots off. Andrew Mangiapane has the puck behind the net. Rasmus Andersson sees this, says, "Oh, my teammate has the puck," and he cheats down from the blue line toward the net. Mangiapane sees his friend coming toward him, hits him with the pass, and Rasmus Andersson goes snipe! 7-6. Calgary. And they weren't done! 8 minutes and 55 seconds into the third period, Leon Draisaitl has the puck in his defensive zone. He tries to pass the puck to somebody in the neutral zone. I can only assume he was trying to break it out to somebody because that's what he seemed to do. But again, game of bounces. That pass, or whatever you want to call it, bounced off Puljujarvi's leg back into the Oilers' defensive zone, which usually wouldn't be a big deal, except for the fact that Matthew Tkachuk was still in their zone, picked up the puck, had a breakaway that ended in the same zone that it started in, and 5 holes she goes! 8-6. Calgary! Now, this is when I had to consult the NHL rulebook. Because after that puck went into the net, the officials were reviewing it to see if it was an offside play, which would have resulted in the goal being called back. And on the replay, you can see that the puck clearly exits the defensive zone and gets into the neutral zone. And typically, should an attacking player, such as Matthew Tkachuk, be in the offensive zone before the puck is, that would be offside and the goal would be called back. But this is the NHL and nothing can be black and white. If a defending player brings the puck back into the defensive zone, then offside is canceled out and the goal is allowed to continue. But Draisaitl didn't carry the puck back into the offensive zone. It bounced off of his teammate's leg and went back into the defensive zone. And I knew the rule about if a defending player brings it back into their zone, then it's not offside and the goal is allowed to stand. Because way back in the day, back when I was still in college, so before 2015, Patrick Kane did that. And I want to say it was PK Subban who scored against the Blackhawks on said play, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I knew that rule, but I wasn't quite sure what the exact rule said about a puck deflecting back into the zone. So I wanted to look it up and get the exact verbiage from the NHL rulebook. And funny enough, this is the second night of round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, and so far in the second round, I have consulted the NHL rulebook on 2 consecutive nights. Anyway, it says, when a defending player propels the puck out of his defending zone and the puck clearly rebounds off a defending player in the neutral zone back into the defending zone, all attacking players are eligible to play the puck. However, any action by an attacking player that causes a deflection rebound off of a defending player in the neutral zone back into the defending zone, i.e. a stick check, body check, physical contact, a delayed offside shall be signaled by the linesman. And that did not happen. Draisaitl just shot it off of Puljujärvi's leg. So, according to Rule 83.2 in the NHL rulebook, that is a good goal. Because the defending player, Leon Draisaitl, shot the puck out of the defensive zone. It went off of a defending player, Puljujärvi, went back into the defensive zone, so the attacking player, Matthew Tkachuk, was still eligible to play the puck and therefore score the goal. And I wanted to look that up so I could make sure that I knew what was going on, but also so that I could read it to you guys and you would know that that is why that goal stood. Because had I not known about the other rule of a defending player carrying the puck back into the defensive zone, I would have been very confused as to how that was not an offside play and therefore called back. Because the NHL rulebook can be very confusing. So if you still had any questions around how that goal was allowed to count, I wanted to be able to explain it. But that wasn't the only thing about that goal that had people confused. Because before that goal went in, the Calgary Flames had 2 players in the box and the Edmonton Oilers had 1 player in the box. Edmonton had Evander Kane and the Calgary Flames had, I believe it was Shillington and Matthew Tkachuk, who scored the goal. And I don't want to dive into all of these specifics about the rules and offsetting penalties because this video is already very long because a lot happened in this game. But typically, if 2 opposing teams take minor penalties, they will be offset, especially if more than 1 penalty is called per side, or if there are multiple guys called for penalties, you will have an offsetting penalty, which they will either just cancel each other out or teams will play 4-on-4. But in this case, since the Calgary Flames had 2 guys in the box, the Edmonton Oilers were going to get a power play. And when a player is penalized with a minor penalty and 1 team goes on the power play, when that power play expires, the guy is allowed to come out of the box. And the offsetting penalties in this case were Evander Kane and Matthew Tkachuk, or so people thought. Because Oliver Shillington's penalty, I believe it was Shillington. It was, I just looked it up. His penalty was holding against Connor McDavid, and then Evander Kane and Matthew Tkachuk had roughing minors against each other. So you would think that those 2 are the offsetting ones, and should Edmonton have scored or when the penalty expired, that Oliver Shillington would be the one to come out of the box. But my friends, this is the NHL, and nothing is black and white. So I learned something tonight, and that is if you have more than 1 guy in the box and only 1 of those penalties is actually being counted down as a power play, the captain of the team can decide which player gets to come out of the box first. In this case, they chose Matthew Tkachuk, which was a great choice since he ended up scoring that goal. And I believe what happened here is that Shillington and Evander Kane had to stay in the box until the next stoppage in play, when they would then be released. So I saw people also being confused as to why is Matthew Tkachuk out of the box and Shillington still in when it should have been Tkachuk still in the box. And I honestly hadn't even noticed that, but had I noticed, I also may have been confused confused about that because I did not know that rule. So I learned that tonight. Did you learn that tonight? A lot of stuff happened in this game. We're breaking records, we're learning new rules, we're chasing goalies in the first 10 minutes of the period. The Battle of Alberta lived up to the hype, and they weren't done! Because 17 minutes and 49 seconds into the third period, Matthew Tkachuk added another goal into the empty net to seal the game and to seal his hat trick. So we're breaking records, we're learning rules, we're chasing goalies, we're getting hat tricks. And Connor McDavid honestly could have been the first star of the game tonight in a game where his team got 9 goals scored against them. And then they were done. But not after a kerfuffle after the final buzzer. At the 20-minute mark of the third period, so when the game was over, Milan Lucic got a roughing penalty against Zach Kassian. Zach Kassian got a roughing penalty against Milan Lucic. Josh Archibald got a roughing penalty against Michael Backlund. Michael Backlund got a roughing call against Josh Archibald. And then apparently Milan Lucic got a second roughing penalty against Zach Kassian. And that, my friends, wrapped up game 1 of the series between the Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers. The final score was 9-6. After the first game of the night between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Rangers went to overtime and the final score was 2-1. Eastern Conference. The West is outshining you right now. Starting tomorrow with the Battle of Florida, I'm going to need y'all to pick it up because you're not some hors d'oeuvre for us watching the playoffs here before the main course that is the Western face-off. We want chaos all night. So, friends, the raw recording of this video is 1 hour and 26 minutes. I did stumble over my words a lot and had some pauses because I just didn't know what to say about what had gone on in this freaking game tonight. So I don't know what the final video is going to come in at, but it's going to be longer than night number 1. This could be a very long playoff round if it just keeps devolving as it goes on like this. But man, was it fun. So if you are still around, my goodness, thank you so much for watching this video and tuning in. Did you tune in to watch these games? Especially the late one? Are you still buzzing from it? Because I know that I am, and I'm sure I am not the only one. But that will do it for me in this one. If you would like to hear more from me or from Center Ice, you can head on over to FromCenterIce.com where there's links to all of the places where you can find us. If you would like to follow along on social media and see my snarky live tweets throughout the game, you can follow us on all of the places. The links are in the description for you, but on Twitter it is at VFCenterIcePod, and on Instagram it is at FromCenterIcePod. And if you aren't subscribed to this channel yet, go ahead and do that. Give this video a like because that would make me very happy. But all of that said, thank you so much once again for tuning in. If you are a Carolina fan, if you are a Rangers fan, hello, I'm happy to be talking to y'all. If you are an Edmonton fan, if you are a Calgary fan, hello. I hope that your blood pressure has come down, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye, guys.